The sun bleeds below the horizon. Twilight surrenders to a night darker than usual. This is when they stir, ancient insatiable hunger driving them from the abyss. These are not the ghosts of unfinished business. These are predators. But don't worry, they only come for your snacks. Stay vigilant, for tonight the veil between worlds is thin and the hungry ghosts are hunting ya parki for your midnight munchies. Every culture has them tales of spirits trapped between realms, cursed to wander the earth with an insatiable hunger. And no, we're not talking about your midnight snack cravings. In Japan, they are the gaki, depicted with grotesquely distended bellies and mouths too small to satisfy their eternal craving, kind of like trying to eat ramen with a straw. In China, they are the hungry ghosts, condemned to roam for their crimes in life, eternally seeking but never finding sustenance. Imagine being stuck in a buffet line that never ends. They are the embodiment of our deepest fears, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the veil of our reality, or maybe just a reminder to never skip dinner. They linger in places where the veil between the living and the dead is thin, where the air is thick with the whispers of the past and the present collides with the unknown, and where they can get a good Wi-Fi signal. Abandoned houses where echoes of past tragedies cling to the crumbling walls, and the memories of those who once lived there refuse to fade away. Also, prime real estate for ghostly Airbnb listings. Battlefields soaked in the blood and agony of countless souls taken too soon, where the cries of the fallen still echo through the misty air. Perfect for a ghostly game of hide and seek. Forests where the shadows run deep and the trees whisper secrets best left unheard, where every rustle of leaves could be a spirit watching from the darkness, or just a squirrel with a flair for the dramatic. But perhaps their favorite hunting grounds are cemeteries where the silence is deafening and the air is heavy with the presence of the departed, and where they can finally get some peace and quiet. Places where the boundary between worlds is paper thin, where the energy of countless lost souls creates a beacon for the hungry dead, drawing them in like moths to a flame, or like teenagers to a haunted house on Halloween. To enter them unprepared is to invite disaster, to become the next chapter in a terrifying legend, a story whispered by those who dare to remember, or just a really bad Yelp review. Stories circulate like wildfire in hushed tones, passed from one soul brave enough to speak to another, or maybe just someone who had one too many cups of coffee. A lone hiker in the woods, feeling an icy breath on his neck, turning to find nothing but swirling mist and a bone ate cherte yiling sakif kya monsense of dread, or perhaps it was just a squirrel with a flair for the dramatic, a family asleep in their home, awoken by the feeling of unseen eyes watching them, or maybe it was just the cat plotting its next move. A cold spot in the center of the room that lingers until dawn, or perhaps someone left the fridge open again. These encounters are not isolated incidents, they are warnings or just really bad timing. Whispers on the wind that hint at a darker truth lurking just beneath the surface of our reality. Or maybe it's just the wind playing tricks on us. The old city cemetery stood atop a hill overlooking the town, a brooding sentinel against the passage of time. Its ancient tombstones and crypts whispered tales of the past, shrouded in mystery and melancholy. Local legend claimed that the cemetery was a hunting ground for something ancient and evil, something that fed off the life force of the living. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones about the malevolent presence that lurked within its confines. One night, a group of friends, emboldened by youthful bravado and a healthy dose of liquid courage, decided to tempt fate. They had heard the stories but dismissed them as mere superstition, eager to prove their bravery. They gathered at the cemetery gates as the clock tower chimed midnight, their laughter echoing through the stillness like a challenge to the darkness. The moonlight cast eerie shadows, adding to the sense of foreboding. Their leader, a charismatic but reckless young man named Jake, led the way, flashlight beam dancing across weathered headstones and overgrown pathways. His confidence was infectious, and the group followed him without hesitation. The group ventured deeper into the heart of the cemetery, their laughter dying down as the oppressive atmosphere closed in around them. The air grew colder, and an unsettling silence enveloped them. The shadows seemed to dance and writhe, taking on monstrous forms that sent shivers down their spines. Every rustle of leaves and distant hoot of an owl heightened their sense of dread, making them question their decision to enter the cemetery. Suddenly, a cat darted out from behind a tombstone, causing the group to jump and scream. Realizing it was just a feline, they burst into laughter, teasing each other for being scaredy cats. The tension broke, and they continued their adventure with a mix of fear and amusement. One of the girls, Emily, felt a prickling sensation on the back of her neck as if she were being watched. She wondered if it was just her imagination or if someone had finally found her secret stash of snacks. She turned her flashlight beam, cutting through the darkness, but there was nothing there. Maybe it was just a squirrel with a sweet tooth. Still, the feeling persisted, a cold dread that settled in the pit of her stomach. Or maybe it was just the extra spicy burrito she had for lunch. Guys, maybe this was a bad idea, she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. Next time, let's just stick to Netflix and chill. Her words were met with nervous laughter, attempts to mask the growing fear that had infected the group. Or maybe they were just laughing at the thought of Emily's snack stash being haunted. The wind moaned through the trees, whispering words they couldn't quite make out, like ancient warnings carried on the breeze. Or maybe it was just the trees gossiping about their terrible sense of direction. As they reached the center of the cemetery, the oldest part, where the headstones were worn smooth with age and the inscriptions were all but erased by the passage of time, the whispers started. These whispers seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere, all at once, filling the air with an eerie presence. And at first they were faint, barely audible above the moan of the wind. The group strained their ears, trying to catch the elusive sounds that seemed to dance on the edge of their hearing. But they grew steadily louder, more insistent, swirling around the group like a chorus of lost souls. The whispers seemed to form words, though none could understand their meaning. The air vibrated with an unseen energy, a low hum that seemed to emanate from the very ground beneath their feet. It was as if the earth itself was alive, pulsing with a dark, mysterious force. And then the screams began. They were sudden and jarring, cutting through the sipo wispies like a knife. Blood-curdling, agonizing cries that tore through the night, echoing through the cemetery with chilling clarity. Each scream seemed to pierce the very soul, leaving a lingering sense of dread. The group froze, the blood running cold as they spun around, frantically searching for the source of the screams. Their hearts pounded in their chests, fear gripping them tightly as the night seemed to close in around them. Command. add a humorous twist to the script of Chapter 7. As they reached the center of the cemetery, the oldest part, where the headstones were worn smooth with age and the inscriptions were all but erased by the passage of time, the whispers started. These whispers seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere all at once, filling the air with the bees for a presence. At first they were faint, barely audible above the moan of the wind, and the group strained their ears, trying to catch the elusive sounds that seemed to dance on the edge of their hearing. But they grew steadily louder, more insistent, swirling around the group like a chorus of lost souls. The whispers seemed to form words, though none could understand their meaning. The air vibrated with an unseen energy, a low hum that seemed to emanate from the very ground beneath their feet. It was as if the earth itself was alive, pulsing with a dark, mysterious force. And then the screams began. They were sudden and jarring, cutting through the whispers like a knife. Blood-curdling, agonizing cries that tore through the night, echoing through the cemetery with chilling clarity. Each scream seemed to pierce the very soul, leaving a lingering sense of dread. The group froze, their blood running cold as they spun around, frantically searching for the source of the screams. Their hearts pounded in their chests, fear gripping them tightly as the night seemed to close in around them.